All right, shalom, shalom. Okay, first and foremost, I want to start by giving all praise, honor, and glory unto the Heavenly Father, the Most High, our Creator and our Power, who the world ignorantly calls God. His name is Yahweh, in the name of His only begotten Son, our Lord, our Savior, and our Deliverer, the Messiah, who the world ignorantly calls JC. His name is Yahweh Shai. Call Halayamla, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Makah Kodash. I want to give double honors unto the apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone. Salutations, peace, blessings, and safety be unto the hopeful elect. And pretty much in this lesson, I'm gonna just be going into, some news, or rather some information that I got off of. Well, the first source of information is via a website called AccuWeather. Okay, and I also asked ChatGPT a couple of questions concerning that information that I got from the website AccuWeather. But as we know, or for those who may not know, the year started off with a super moon, okay, a wolf moon to be specific. And as we know, man, the moon. Matter of fact, I'll start off with a scripture and then go from there. It's Genesis 1:14, and the Most High said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years." Okay, so not only was that um, when the creation of the world was taking place, the Lord, He placed in the sky, He placed the greater light and the lesser light, right? The greater light being the sun, and the lesser light being the moon, and those were meant to be signets of the time. Okay, not only of the day, but even of the year, or even of the day, of the year, and even of you know uh, of the time in history, if you will, pertaining to where we at in prophecy. Okay, so those are very, very important things to pay attention to. And as we know, the sun represents the day, and the moon represents the night. But when you go even further, as it pertains to those lights being, like I said, let them be for signs. Okay, those lights were meant to be signs as well. Because you have lunar eclipses, you have solar eclipses, and it was sometime last year we had a solar eclipse. All right, and if you don't know what a solar eclipse is, it's when the moon aligns with the sun, and it makes the moon, or excuse me, it makes the sun appear darker, right? And depending on where you at in the world, you'll see it more, right? The same with the lunar eclipse is when the sun, when it's nighttime, when the sun um, aligns with the moon, and it appears that the sun, oh, excuse me, the moon is gone. Okay, but you also have full moons and super moons. Okay, you have different types of super moons, and those are signs, those are signets of the times, man. So um, based on that website AccuWeather, right? I just looked it up. Um, I looked it up on Google of what full moons and super moons will we have in 2026. And again, we started off on January 3rd with that wolf moon. So I'm gonna read this info. All right, give me a second. All right, so I'm gonna read it in order. All right, so it says January 3rd was the wolf moon. May 1st, which is coming up, oh Salakia. February 1st was a snow moon, which we're in February 13th right now. Okay, the next one will be a worm moon on March 3rd. April 1st will be a pink moon. May 1st will be a flower moon. May 31st will be a blue moon. And if I'm not mistaken, this is the third year in a row that we've had a super moon around the time of the Pesach. And this year, the Pesach starts on May 1st. Okay, if it, I believe it's May 1st. Salakia, if I'm wrong, it's either March 1st or May 1st. But it's in that same time period. I gotta fact check that. Matter of fact, let me do that right now. Give me a second. Slocky, bear with me real quick. Okay, Slocky. Yeah, it's April 1st actually. So yeah, the Pesach begins on April 1st through April 1st sundown to April 8th sundown. So Slocky. But nonetheless, it's around the same time. You know that the whole point being, you know, us having these super moons, you know, these signets in the heavens around that same time. Okay, so going back to the info. Give me a second. And actually, I'll start over. And yeah, so again, we got January 3rd was the wolf moon. February 1st was the snow moon. March 3rd was the worm moon. April 1st is the pink moon. May 1st is the flower moon. Okay, so yeah, man, on the um on the day that the Pesach begins, we're gonna have that pink moon. And I'm gonna go, you know, Lord willing, I'm gonna go more into depth and see what the significance of those names are. You know, why they're named, what they're named. You know, I didn't get that information just yet. You know, it's kind of an impromptu. You know, whatever. But I'm gonna go into that info, Lord willing, and you know, dig deeper into it. But yeah, man, we got a super moon. You know, the pink moon beginning April 1st. Okay, and then from there we got May 1st, the flower moon. May 31st, the blue moon. June 29th, strawberry moon. And then July 29th is the buck moon. August 28th, the sturgeon moon. September 26th, the harvest moon. October 26th, the hunter's moon. November 24th, beaver moon. And then December 23rd is the cold moon. Okay, so that's 13 super moons altogether um, throughout this year, man. Not to even mention whatever other signs in heavens that is gonna be. You know, that's not including any lunar eclipses or solar eclipses, if there will be, right? But nonetheless, man. So I had just wanted to see what Chat GPT would say, and I just looked up what is the spiritual significance of full moons and super moons. Okay, and I'm gonna go into what it said, man. You eat the meat, spit out the bones. But it says, obviously it says those the spiritual significance, it varies based on religion and interpretation, whatever. But it says full moon spiritual significance. Number one, completion and culmination. The full moon marks the peak of the lunar cycle. Right, the peak of the lunar cycle, and we know according to the scriptures that's our halfway point of the month, right? Because the new moon, which is when the moon it's not visible. Okay, that's when it's the least visible. We understand that that's the beginning of the month, and the full moon represents that halfway point until it begins to wane and go back, to the new moon, which you know the new moon is ultimately the completion of that cycle. All right, but it says spiritually it symbolizes completion of a cycle, manifestation of intentions set during the new moon, harvesting results of past actions. Many people use this time to reflect on what has become to fruition, or excuse me, what has come to fruition in their lives. All right. It says, It's like, yeah, my mic muted me. But as I was saying, just like the Lord uses the moons and the moon and the sun, right? The different moons and the sun as signets of things to come. He uses other things, other tools as a sign of things to come. He uses um, different events in the earth, right? Different disasters, right? Whether it be earthquakes, tornadoes, different tragedies in the earth, right, as it pertains to natural disasters. He also uses animals, right? The behavior of the animals, certain things that animals do, whether it be birds or whether it be beasts. They begin to act a certain way. Their behavior, it gets real strange, if you will, when something is about to happen, something pivotal is about to take place in the earth. All right, you have certain beasts, they begin to eat. Some beasts, they'll migrate. You have some beasts, they'll run in circles. You have other animals, they'll cry out, they'll make noises, and for a prolonged period of time. You have birds, they'll fly in circles. You have certain animals that are off themselves because of you know as a sign of things to come, man. And it'll be in large numbers. Whether it be fish, you have a lot of fish, and these are things that has actually happened before, man. You have fish that'll die in a large number at one time. You have birds, they'll fly in circles. Um, you have birds that'll dive from the air directly into the ground and off they self. You have beasts that'll run in circles. All right, so it's different things that'll happen in the earth. That's a sign of things to come. All right, but this is particularly about the moons, man. And nowadays people have become desensitized to those things. When in history, when we didn't have the social media, we didn't have cameras the way we do. People took those things to heart. They actually paid attention to those things and understood what they meant. It wasn't just a time for you to get a good picture or take a selfie in front of a big super moon, man. That's not what that was meant to be. That's what it's become. People want to get the best picture. You have people that'll travel out of state, because or even out of country because, again, as I said, hey, depending on what area of the world you're in, you're able to see those different super moons or lunar eclipses or solar eclipses better in those areas of the world. So you got people that'll travel all the way to those different areas where you can see it best, just to take pictures, not understanding or considering what those things mean, man. All right, but those are actually signs. That's a way of the Lord speaking. Okay, giving a warning in the earth of things to come, man. But the world has become very docile. All right, not understanding those signs, especially our people, because that's who it's for. All right, it really don't matter. The heathen don't matter, but those signs are to our people to give us a heads up. Not only do you have the animals' behavior, you got the signs in the heavens, you got the different events happening around the world. You have the prophets out there speaking. All of that has become something of the norm to these people, and it's not meant to be something that's normal. All right, it's something that's supposed to stick out and get your attention, man. All right, but let me continue on. Number 3, it says emotional amplification. The moon has long been associated with emotions and intuition. During the full moon, people often report heightened feelings and increased sensitivity, and also vivid dreams, restlessness, or insomnia. All right, spirit. It's really no way to keep up with that type of information, but you know, just me, speaking as a man, I believe that. All right, number 4, it says release and letting go. If the new moon is for setting intentions, the full moon is for releasing. You know, it is what it is. You know, like I said, you could just take the information that you will and discard the rest, man. Let me see. So yeah, let's go to the super moon spiritual meaning. It says a super moon occurs when the full moon is closer to Earth, appearing larger or brighter, or and brighter. It spiritually is interpreted as amplified energy, stronger emotions, faster manifestations, more intense spiritual experiences. And you know, that's all personal to people's testimony, you know. But it's truth to that, man. And you can see it, you know, and people even say that that's where the name lunatic comes from, because of those heightened feelings and emotions during a new moon, or excuse me, during the full moon, right? People get more emotional. People get their the things that they feel, the emotions that they feel, it gets more intense, whether it be anger, whether it be sadness, you know, frustration, whatever it might be, man. People feel deeper during full moons. That's truth, and you can see it in the people's behavior, man. Right, when during full moons, you see people get crazier. They get more sensitive and shit, even impulsive. Right, so it says it's a powerful turning point that comes with major realizations, sudden endings or breakthroughs, feeling called, so-called, or quote unquote, called to change something in your life. And yeah, you can say that, right? Because just as you know, when you see the prophets who are also set up as a sign, when you see the prophets, you know, hey, something coming. When you see those men out there speaking, you know something is coming. You meant, you know, it's meant for you to pay attention to those men and what they saying, and that's a time for you to consider your ways, man, to examine your life, your behavior, as it pertains to, hey, am I doing what's in line with the Heavenly Father's will, or am I living how I want to live? All right, that's a time for you to reconsider, to self-reflect, as they say. And it's not only when those things happen. It's not only when you see a full moon or a super moon, or you know, some other sign in the world. You're supposed to be doing it every day regardless. But that's like a direct um, message from the Lord, man. And it was a lot last year too. You know, 2025, it flew by, but it was a lot of super moons, a lot of um, it was at least one solar eclipse. I don't remember how many lunar eclipses it was, but I'm sure it was. You know, all I got to do is go back and get the info. But you know, it was a lot last year too, and we seen it. It was a, you know, it was some pieces being moved on the chessboard last year. Right, 2020 2026 started off with a bang also. All right, there's still pivotal things happening in the earth. There's some major changes happening. So those signs are not coincidences. It's not just a coincidence that we have all of these super moons, man. Now you can say, right? Granted, we have more technology, we have more ability to pay attention to the heavens as we than we did, 50 years ago, 60 years ago. But at the same time, you don't need technology to see when there's a super moon. All you got to do is look up. But the point being, we ain't seen as many super moons, especially not in 1 year time period. We ain't seen um, shit 5, 6, 7, 13 super moons in 1 year, right? That's unprecedented, man. But that shows you and that tells you just how much closer we are to the end. Okay, so yeah, man, it was always meant to be a sign, a sign of the times. All right, so let me get a couple more pre's, man, and that'll be that. Just things to look for, man, as we're told to do. Right, 2 Esdras 9:1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Okay, and I'll even quote another precept that the Lord said. All right, former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. Not only does the Lord speak by way of his prophets, but he speaks through the world. He speaks through, again, like I said, the animals or the signs in the heavens. Okay, and that's another tool that we use to measure the signs. We pay attention to the signs in the heavens, man. The world don't, right? Just like when we see chariots in the sky, whether it be during the day or at night. If people witness us seeing the chariots, they may look up with us, or they may completely ignore us, like we just some crazy niggas on the corner, just looking up, or they just assume we're looking at the stars or something. When people see shooting stars, they don't understand that that's not shooting stars, man. Okay, that's activity, that's heavenly, celestial activity going on. All right, but hey, it's meant for who it's meant for. For the rest, they're not gonna understand it. All right, but for us, we take it in and we filter it and we go from there, man. Also, um, measuring the events that's going on in the earth as those things occur, right? Not only paying attention to these super moons and these eclipses, but also paying attention to what's going on in the earth while those things are happening, right? I had looked up also this thing keep muting me. Salaki. Yeah, yeah. So ChatGPT it gave me a list of things that happen during full moons or super moons. Right. The first one, it says the American Civil War, the Battle of Fredericksburg in 1862, fought December 11th to December 15th, 1862. A full moon occurred December 8th, 1862, near Perigee, considered a supermoon by modern definitions. The night brightness helped the troops' movements and battlefield visibility. World War II, firebombing of Dresden, 1945, from February 13th to February 15th, 1945. It says a full moon on February 12th illuminated the city and aided the Allied bombers. Bright moonlight was strategically used for night raids. All right. It says the Vietnam War. Let me see. Yeah, the Vietnam War, the Tet Offensive. Yeah, the water for that, bro. Yeah. Whenever I switch tabs, because this the only streaming streaming app I can use right now is this StreamYard. So whenever I do switch tabs, it blacks out the camera for some reason. But as long as the audio's good. All right. So it said the Vietnam War, Tet Offensive in 1968 began January 30th of 68, timed around the Lunar New Year full moon period, which when a ceasefire was expected. Armies throughout history have used full moons for visibility and navigation and surprise attacks. Okay, now it says pivotal political and world events. It says the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. The wall opened November 9th, 1989. A full moon occurred November 13th near Perigee, marking a symbolic period of global change. All right, natural disasters and modern events. Let me see. It says the Indian Ocean tsunami in 2004, December 26th of 2004. Give me 1 second. Okay. Yeah, the 26th of 2004. Uh, Occurred 2 days after a perigee full moon on December 24th. Some speculated about tidal forces, but scientists found no causal link, which, hey, they don't know shit, right? They only pay attention to what they can tangibly feel, Science, uh, worldly science, I'm gonna say that, right? Because the word science means to know. I mean, we understand the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Most High. Men, especially Esau, he tries to bring reason to why things happen when they happen, based on tangible things that we're subject to, right? The senses. But there's a lot of things that the Lord do in the earth that can't be explained by man, right? As the scriptures tell you, hardly do we guess right at the things upon earth, man. All right, but Esau, he swore up and down, he got it all figured out, and he has a reason for everything. But we understand the truth. All right. In 2011, March 11th, 2011 was the Tohoku earthquake and Fukushima disaster. It happened days before a March 19th supermoon, and it says widely discussed in media, though again no proven connection. And it don't have to be proven, man. Everything will be proven in the end when all is said and done. Okay. When Yahweh Shem Shah continues to visit the earth, man, and when Yahweh Shah actually returns, it's all gonna be revealed. And guess what? More things are gonna happen. We're not just gonna be seeing all of these super moons for nothing, right? Just so people can say, "Oh, that looks so pretty. That's so nice." So you can upload your photo of your perspective of the the super moon and try to get the most likes on your picture, man. No, shit gonna pop off, man. Okay, and it's only so much longer these signs are gonna be going out. The same way you have any alarm for as a warning for any particular disaster, man. That alarm goes off and it goes off and it goes off until it's not, and then that thing that was being warned about is gonna be in full effect. All right. So let me get a little bit more. So it says recent supermoon era moments, right? Um, the CV19 PDEM 2020, a series of supermoons occurred from March to May of 2020, right? And that's really like when things began to ramp up even more. We've seen different activity in the skies, in the heavens, but it started to ramp up a lot more during 2020, man. All right. It said a series of supermoons occurred from March to May in 2020. During global lockdowns, empty cities under bright supermoons became iconic images at that time. See? And I didn't even read that part, man, but it's just a fact, right? People they only care about the catching the moment, right? But it's deeper than that, man. February 24th, 2022, Russia-Ukraine war escalation. Right, the Russian invasion began on the 24th of February 2022. A supermoon occurred in July of 2022 during the ongoing conflict. Okay, this is let me see. It's used symbolically in media coverage and photography of wartime nights. All right, and that's just the most recent event in history that was recorded during when there was a supermoon during that time, I'm gonna say. But we know, it's not over, man. A lot more is gonna happen. a lot more, and it's gonna be a lot worse. Okay, and people are not gonna have a chance to get that nice what do you call it, viral picture, man. Because when these signs happen, shit gonna be happening at the same time, man. All right, it's gonna be on and popping. Okay, but yeah, I just wanted to go into that. I'm gonna get a couple more pre's and then we'll close out from there. All right, so let me get Luke 21. Bear with me 1 second. All right, yeah, Luke 21 and verse 7. Okay. It says them saying, "Master," right? Talking about Yahushua when he was speaking to his disciples, man, and they was inquiring, wait, what's going to be the signs of the end of all of this? What should we look for? And it says, "And when shall these things be? And what sign will there be when these things shall come to pass?" And he said, "Take heed that ye be not deceived, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and the time draweth near. Go ye not therefore after them. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by." And we seeing that now. Okay, the commotions, which also represents the rumors of wars. All right, the fighting. It's not all out um, war yet. All right, but it's tensions. Disagreement. Posturing. A lot of threatening talk. Okay, we seeing all of that, man. Of course you had you know swords flying, but the Lord is he has the angels holding back that ultimate destruction right now. Okay, because other things have to come to pass before that. But the fact that they began, those tensions are happening, and the tension is growing. It's all being set up for that. It's not just gonna be peace, and then one day everybody's just gonna be decide to fight one day. No, it has to build up. It has to be gradualism. Okay. It says, "But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Then said he unto them, Nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilences, and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven." Okay. So yeah, all of that, man. It's not just one. It's all of that together that we need to be looking for, and we seeing all of that right now, man. Been seeing it for a minute now, for some time. But as the events in the earth increase, we also see the signs increasing. Okay, which again tells you that it's not just a coincidence. Okay, so yeah, man. And I believe it was in Cali. They had like 300 earthquakes in one day, right, in a 24-hour period. And even though majority of them was low on the scale, it's still unprecedented, man, to have that many earthquakes going on at any time, let alone in one day. All right, so yeah, man. But people gonna see that and they're just gonna be like, oh, it's just another day. They don't take it serious. But when them sixes and them sevens and them eights start shaking the earth, that's when people gonna pay attention. But right now it's just a little, it might rock your table, your kitchen table, make your glasses clink, you know, probably knock off a fork off your table or something. Or you might feel like, you might feel a little weird. You're taking a shower, you feel a little shaking and you don't know what's going on. But hey, when the real shit start happening, you gonna know exactly what it is. All right. And get a couple more. Jeremiah 10:1. "Hear ye the word which the Lord Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them." So yeah, and that's specific to us. When we do see those things, we not to be, thrown off or terrified. Okay. Or just acting all weird like these people do, man. Again, we it's meant for us. Even though the world sees it, it's meant for us. It's meant for us to pay attention to those things and to, you know, filter those things through the scriptures, man. The rest of the world, they're gonna continue to live how they living, man. All right. Let me see. And that also remind me of that precept about when the Lord called his people called our people hypocrites. You know how they can discern the face of the sky, but they can't discern the signs of the times. All this stuff going on, especially now. That was said back then. How much more now? When you see things happening in the earth that has never happened before, and at the rate that it's happening. But Jake still sleep. They still complacent and settled in their lifestyle. They're not taking those things to heart, man. But hey, like I said, man, it's meant for who it's meant for. My brother put that info up. He said the largest reported earthquake in Cali was a 7.9 on the scale back in January 7th of 1857. And guess what? The Lord gonna outdo himself, man. Okay, that earthquake is gonna look like child's play. That earthquake that happened in Japan, that's gonna look like child's play. All right, yeah, man. A lot more is coming, man. Right now, this is what you can consider the calm before the storm, and that's why it's gonna catch a lot of people unawares, man, because they not paying attention to it. Let me get this last one. It's Romans 13:11, and that knowing the time, right? Because we know what time we in, right? That now it is high time to awake out of sleep, right? This is an urgent, very sensitive time period, right? The grace period, all right. And this message that we have is a very important message, a dire message. Hey, but to them it's just, oh, you just you just a crazy nigga, or you just an extremist, or you just like everybody else. No, this is not just we ain't in the same category as these other people, man. This is not just religion. This is not just opinion that we coming with. You don't have to listen to us. You don't have to pay no attention to us at all. We ain't gonna lose no sleep. We're not gonna be bent out of shape because you don't want to receive it. We're gonna continue to do what we doing. All right, according to the duty that we've been given. That's it. But hey, everybody gonna continue to fall into their lot. All right. It says, For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. All right, and that's what we see when we see those signs in the heavens. We see, hey, the Lord. He's speaking to the world in the sense of telling them, hey, the the evils that's coming, but also the salvation, the deliverance that's coming as well. Because those two go hand in hand, man. Because there has to be evils. There has to be something to be delivered from for there to be salvation. So that's necessary. And we just praying that we in that category of those who are going to be saved. All right, but I'm gonna close it there. I don't want to make it too much longer. I just wanted to go into that information. That's very interesting, man. It's not just full moons, man. These are 13 super moons that's we're scheduled to have. So hey, that says a lot, man. And we only barely halfway through February, and a lot happened already. This gonna be a long year, not literally, but you know eventually it's gonna be looking forward to see what the Lord do for the rest of this year, man. Hey, with that, Lord willing, I pray it was edifying. And with that, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone. Salutations, peace, blessings, and safety to the hopeful elect. DTA Abba Ball. Kwame Ashala. Till next time, Shalom.